All right. Lesson 52, we're correcting number 1, 36 apples. Number 2, 60 pounds. You could put POUNDS or the abbreviation LBS. Okay, so either way. Oops, that's not how you spell. There we go. Number 3, you needed to have $2.40 with a dollar sign. Number 4, you needed to have 4 centuries or 4-cent period. Either way would be okay. Genesis, you have a question?
For number 4, I wrote $2.40 in change. Is it okay?
For number 3, you mean?
Yes.
That's fine. Number 5, you need to have 148. Number 6, you needed to draw a rectangle. It needed to be 2 inches long and 1 inch wide. You needed to shade all except for 3/8 of it. So, and then put what percent. So your rectangle should have looked something like this. You needed to measure with your ruler. And then you needed to divide that into 8 different things. And then you needed to shade all except for 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you should have written out 37.5%. Genesis?
Did we have to draw the square, the rectangle that way?
No, it can be up and down or it can be sideways, but it needed to be 2 inches one way and 1 inch the other way. Okay, and you needed to have 37.5%. You get that by knowing that the rectangle is 100%, and then you divide 100 by 8, and then that's your percentage. Well, and then you multiply that number by 3, and that's your percentage. Number 7 is written out. Marcos, raise your hand. Don't shout, please. Yes.
For number 6, is it fine if I put 37.5%?
No. Well, this time, but it should be a fraction. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 37.5 is okay, but next time write it like a fraction. 250,000. Okay, that's the number you should have written. It needs to be spelled correctly, please. Number 8. You should have ended up with 5 books as your answer, and you needed to explain it. Number 9 should have been 7. 10. 1,211 should be 10 millions. 12 should be 1,254. 13 should be $39.01. 14 should be 14,863. You need to have a comma. Okay, now that we're dealing with bigger numbers in your answers, make sure your comma's in the right spot. If you don't have a comma in number 12, that's okay. But when we have a number that's bigger than that, with 5 digits or more, you need to have a comma. 15 should be $90.60, 16 cents. Oops. Okay, now 16 should be 27,000 with a comma, 472. 17 should have been $6.81. 18 is 29,000 or 22,975, but you needed to find W. So you were finding 66. Okay, 66 was the missing number. So you could have 66 or you could have W equals 66. 19. If you just wrote out the equation on 18 and you had 66 in your equation, that's fine too. If you had 3,041 minus 66 equals 2,975, that's fine. 19, 1,082. 20 is 567. 21 is $19.60. 22, you should have 3 7/10. 23, you needed to have 5 as your answer. 24 should be $2.93. 25, you should have D. 26, you should have either 25 times 24 or write it out the long way with the parentheses. 25 times 20 plus 25 times 4. Emmanuel, question?
Yes, is it okay if I did choice 1 just multiply 25 times 24 and choice 2 first multiply then add?
Yeah, next time just write it out though, okay? They
Oh.
want to see that you know how to write it out. It's okay for today, but next time write it out. 27, 27A, you needed to make a line and plot the data. I'm not gonna write it all out for you because it'll take too long. But you needed to do a line plot, okay, like we did in class. I'm gonna hold it up to the screen so you can see real quick what it kind of should have looked like. Let me see here. Okay, it needed to look something like this. Okay, if you did something different than that, then it's not correct. Okay, so it should have been like that. Okay, that's A. B, the median would have been 4.5. Emmanuel, you have a question?
Yes, it should. I did different. I did like this, like sideways here, like this, instead of like this.
Okay, if you still got all the information on there in the right spot, that's okay for today, but next time do it the other way, okay?
Okay.
Vic, question?
Miss, for the line plot, I just put like the lines and how you showed 5, 10, and 15 that, and no one, no excess, no nothing.
Well, if you have all the X's and they're in the right spot, then that's okay. But if you did not do it that way, then that's wrong. Okay, and the range would have been 11. Okay, so median 4.5, mode 5, range 11, and then for C, you needed to have 4 and 5, or you could have said 1 and 2. If you put both of those, that's fine. Vic, question?
I forgot to lower my hand.
Marcos, question?
Yeah, I thought D was 4 and 5.
Oh, sorry. That's right. That's for D. I skipped ahead. Sorry. For C, it should have been 9 and 12. Okay, so if you got 3 out of 4 of those right, you can give yourself okay, like you passed. If you got more than 1 wrong, then you got it wrong. Okay, so if you got 3 out of 4, A, B, C, and D correct, then you can mark it correct. Oh, what happened? Okay, number 28. Sorry, I have to flip my page over here. 28, you needed to write it out in expanded notation. So it should have been, I'm gonna scooch it over so you can see better and I can see. Needed to write like this 3 times 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, parentheses, plus, and then 2 times 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Sorry, 1 too many sets. There we go. And then close parentheses. Okay. Marcos, question? All right. 29, you needed to have 1 degree Fahrenheit. And number 30, you needed to have 8 years old. All right, you're gonna put your total number correct over 30. Give yourself an extra point for putting the lesson number and your name. All right. And that's lesson 52. Genesis, you have a question?
Yes, do we have to give a, can we have, like, do we have 2 extra points if we put our name and lesson, or only 1 extra point?
1 for each thing.
Again? I didn't finish.
All right. Okay, any more questions? Genesis, you have another question? Everybody good now? All right. We're gonna move on to lesson 53. Today we're talking about measuring, but today we're gonna be measuring perimeter and measuring circles. Okay, so this is lesson 53. And finding the perimeter of a shape is actually pretty easy. To find the perimeter of a shape, you just need to measure all of the sides and add them together. So for example, on this rectangle, you would have to measure this length and then this width, and then add the length and the width again, or you can multiply the length times 2 and the width times 2 and then add it together. Basically, to find the perimeter, you're just adding together all the outside lengths of any shape. Okay, so for a rectangle, the equation that people use looks like this: length times 2 plus width times 2. Okay, length times 2 plus width times 2. I don't know why they did that way. Okay, that gives you your perimeter. That's the outside of your shape. Okay, that's the, if we were going to measure all the way around. So if this was a room, and let's pretend that this length is 12 and this length is 10, then we know that this length is also going to be 12 and this length is also going to be 10 because it's a rectangle, right? We know those shapes are the side, are the same. So we could add 12 plus 12 and get 24 plus 10 plus 10, that's 20. We add them together and we get 44. So our perimeter would be 44 inches or 44 feet, whatever we are talking about, 44 meters. Okay, so the length times 2 plus the width times 2 tells us our perimeter. Let's try this one. Somebody look at it and tell me, what do you think the perimeter of this rectangle is? Go ahead and raise your hand if you think you know. Genesis, I saw your hand first.
I think it's
You think it's what? I couldn't hear you, sorry.
10.
Good, 10 centimeters, right? Because 3 times 2 is 6 and 2 times 2 is 4. And we add those together and we get 10 centimeters. Very good. All right, not challenging. Okay, to find a rectangle perimeter is easy. It's length times 2 plus width times 2 and you get the perimeter. Okay, so here's how they wrote it out. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, and the L equals length and the W equals width. Vic, you have a question?
Miss, I do not understand.
Okay, thank you for telling me. We're gonna keep practicing and then hopefully you'll get it. Genesis, you have a question?
I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, so let's look here. Sorry, my thing of people is floating around in a weird spot. Okay. This is the exact same thing. So Vic, look here. Here is the length. Okay, this is 3 centimeters. This also at the bottom is also 3 centimeters. So we can say the length is 3 times, or 3 2 times, right? Because we have the same thing 2 times, right? 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. The height of it is 2 centimeters. So we can say 2 times 2, because there's 2 sides that are both 2 centimeters. Okay, so 3 times 2 equals 6. That's our lengths. And then 2 times 2 is our width, and that equals 4. And then we just add those 2 together to get the whole outside of the shape, and that tells us 10 centimeters. Let's look at a different one. Okay, well, first they want to say, if a regular polygon has sides that are equal length and angles equal in measure, then we can just multiply. So if this triangle is equal on all sides, we say this side is worth 5, let's say 5 centimeters, then we know that this side is also 5 and this side is 5. So we can find the perimeter of this shape by just saying 5 times 3, because there's 3 sides. The square, if it's 4 on this side, it's also going to be 4 on this side and 4 on this side and 4 on this side, because all the sides are equal in a square. So now, Vic, how would I find the perimeter of this square?
By multiplying 4 times.
Yeah,
Times 4.
4 times 4, because there's 4 sides. Okay, in a regular pentagon where all of the sides are equal, we can do the same thing. So if this is 2, then we know that this side is 2, and this side is 2, and this side is 2, and this side is 2. So now we just have to say 2 times the amount of sides. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So we're gonna say 2 times 5. And that gives us the perimeter. In this hectagon, which is missing some letters here, but it's a hectagon. If we said each side is 10, then we would just, whoops, that's silly. Then we would just have to multiply 10 times the number of sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So we would say 6 times 10. And that is our perimeter. That's how long our shape is all the way around, the outside measure. In an octagon, what am I going to multiply by?
By 8.
By 8, good. Okay, so if this side is 3, then I'm going to multiply 3 times 8, and I'm going to get the outside perimeter of my shape. Okay, that only works if all the outside shapes are outside lines are the same. Okay, if they're not, then you just add them together. You don't multiply, you just add each different length. Okay, but when they're the same, you can multiply. So this is 12 inches. So someone raise your hand and tell me, what is the equation that I can use to solve this? Marcos.
May I go to the bathroom?
Yes. Alba, what's the equation I can use to solve this?
3 times 12.
3 times 12. Awesome. So the outside of this rectangle is what? Genesis? What's 12 times 3? Anybody? Genesis?
12 times is
Good. Somebody said it. 36. All right.
Sorry,
36
Genesis.
inches. That's all right. We got it. 36 inches. Okay. So this is the end here. 36 inches. Good. So if the outside lines are the same size in length, all we do is multiply. If they're not, then we just add. Okay. The other thing we're going to talk about is a circle. Okay. The outside of a circle is not called the perimeter. Okay. A perimeter is the outside of all the other shapes. The outside of a circle is called the circumference. Okay. That's the outside. Okay. It's the outside of the perimeter of the circle. The line that goes all the way across the circle is called the diameter. And the line that goes from the outside, the circumference, to the middle is called the radius. Okay, so we have some, and then we have our middle point. That's obviously the middle of the circle. Okay, this information is also in your book. This little picture is in your book to help you, so you don't have to remember right now, but you do need to learn that. Okay, so the outside is called the circumference. The line that goes all the way across and cuts your circle in half is the diameter. And the line that goes from the outside to the middle is called the radius. Okay, so in order to measure a circle, we would do it differently. But today we just want to know what those lines are called. Okay, the circumference, the diameter, the radius, and the center point or the midpoint. All right. What is the length of this rectangle? Genesis.
It is 20.
Just the length.
Oh, the length. It's hard.
Somebody else, what is my
5.
length? 5. Good. Okay, the longest part is your length. So my length is 5. What is my width?
3.
Good. 3. Okay,
You
so
don't
my
understand this.
length is 5. My width is 3. So the longest part is my length and my other part is my width. Okay, so length is your tall part or the longest part, and width is the other measurement. Okay, what is the perimeter of this rectangle, Samuel?
Well, I couldn't hear you.
What is the perimeter of the rectangle? Good, 16, because I'm going to do my length times 2, which is 10, and my width times 2, which is 6, and then I'm going to add them together. So my perimeter is 16 inches. You got to remember to put inches. Whoops. Okay, inches. All right. What is the perimeter of this right triangle? Somebody raise your hand if you can tell me how to figure out what is the perimeter of this triangle.
By adding.
Good.
No.
Yes, that is correct. Okay, Matthias, what is my perimeter?
12 centimeters.
Good, 12 centimeters, because
And
all
I
we
have a
have
question.
to do is add them together because they're not the same length. Matthias,
I have. Which math lesson are we going to do?
this one, 53.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Vicky, question? I don't understand, Cardi, I'm in this class. What do you mean?
No.
I don't think she's gonna put answers on the board during the test.
No, I don't have that.
Just do your test and don't worry about it. Okay? Go ahead. Sorry. How do I find the perimeter of the square?
By multiplying.
By
adding.
multiplying. Either way, right? I could multiply 4 times 4 because we know that each side of the square is 4 feet and there are 4 sides, or I can add 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Okay, either way. Good. Vicky, I'm sorry, did you have a question? I didn't hear it.
No.
Okay, thank you. All right. Here is the homework. Pages 342 to 344, 1 through 30. We're going to correct it tomorrow. So make sure you do it today. Okay, if you do not come to school tomorrow, you're going to upload your corrected math. Okay, when you're done correcting it, you only have to upload the corrected ones because I don't have time to look at everything. Okay, so just the corrected ones. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back at 9:15 for Bible. If you have a question, you can stay
Bye.
by 9:15 Bible.